The AP and the College Football Playoff Committee will do it wrong, so we're here to do it right. Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert here with our Week 11 GE Top 25 poll. Our own set of rankings here from the channel, influenced by no one else, strictly from us here at the Gridiron Expert. And this week's a big one because we are in the home stretch. Some teams out there, their season is over. Some teams, all they're fighting for are bowl berths. A lot of teams out there still remaining, fighting for college football playoff berths, conference championship berths. And tomorrow, we will see the first set of the college football playoff rankings. We'll get to look into the mind of the playoff committee, into how they are selecting these teams, how they are ranking these teams, what they value, what they don't value. And then obviously, he's going to set the stage for a wild last few weeks of the season, all the way up until Selection Sunday. But we are here now with our own set of rankings, which we every year believe is a little bit better and certainly has better reasoning and better metrics than that of the AP and the committee. Week 10 wasn't the wildest week by any means. We didn't see a whole lot of massive upsets, a whole lot of massive shakeups in the top 25. But again, it does set the stage for another big Week 11, a week that features two ranked versus ranked matchups, but a lot of other games that could result in big upsets as well. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I've delayed it long enough. Jumping into our Week 11 GE Top 25, in the top 10, the top 7 remain unchanged. And actually, I agree somehow, some way with the AP when it comes to our top 11. I will say we had some of these teams in place before the AP got there, so I'm going to take credit that we were there first. But all the way through number 11, which Oklahoma is 11th for us, it's 11th in the AP, I agree with the Associated Press. I don't think Ohio State through Ole Miss should change. We had them ranked 1 through 7 last week. We have them ranked the same now. Ohio State beat Penn State in dominant fashion. Got off that slow start, closed at halftime, pulled away in the second half as good teams do. Indiana dismantled Maryland just like they're doing to pretty much all their opponents. It does feel like we're on a collision course to see Ohio State and Indiana in the Big Ten Championship, and that game could determine who gets the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoffs. So that's going to be very, very exciting. Very excited for that if we can, of course, get to that point. Ohio State just can't choke it away against Michigan. A&M had a bye week. They stay at 3. Alabama had a bye week. They stay at 4. Georgia survived Florida 24-20. Need a late score to win that one. Oregon off a bye week. Ole Miss defeating South Carolina 30-14. No reason for any of the top 7 to really change in my eyes. Because we saw in our rankings the number 8, the number 9, and the number 10 team all lose, and that was Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, and Miami. All those teams lost. We have 3 new teams in our top 10. BYU was right on the outside looking in at number 11. They are now up to number 8 for us. Texas Tech is up to number 9, up 4 spots following a big win on the road at Kansas State, winning that game by 23 points. BYU and Texas Tech play this Saturday. That is by far the game of the week. We'll have our prediction for that video coming out here in a few days. But in our rankings, we have the number 8, number 9 teams facing off against each other. Not just a game that will greatly impact the Big 12 standings, who can maybe go to the Big 12 championship, but clearly college football playoff implications as well. And then Notre Dame cracking our top 10, up 2 spots, following a kind of a mediocre win at Boston College. A game they were favored very heavily in, didn't cover the spread, didn't dominate the way we thought they would, but still won by 15, 25-10. So that is our top 10. Really don't think it can be disputed too much, but certainly with games like BYU and Texas Tech, maybe a conference championship in there between Ohio State and Indiana. Alabama and Georgia, certainly some tough games down the stretch. Some interesting games. The top 10 will shake up over the coming weeks. Into the next section, 11 through 20. We mentioned Oklahoma was number 11 for us. That is where they start. They're up 8 spots after their win at Tennessee. That was a gutsy win by Brent Venables' squad. Let's talk about that for a second. A night game at Neyland Stadium where they have been practically unstoppable under Josh Heupel the last few years. I think they lost, 4 or 5 home games under Josh Heupel, and 3 of them were to Georgia, right? So teams not named Georgia really don't succeed very well in Knoxville. Oklahoma did. Great balance on offense, great defensive performance, beat the Volunteers 33-27 again at night. The blackout game for Tennessee had the makings for a big win for the Volunteers, and yet Oklahoma kind of being seemingly left for dead after losing at home to Ole Miss, found a way to get the win. They're up to number 11, and they're keeping their playoff hopes alive, while Tennessee took their 3rd loss of the year, and the Volunteers most likely out of the college football playoff race, so no back-to-back appearances for them. But a gutsy win for Brent Venables' squad. I was very, very impressed. That's why they jumped so high, 8 spots following their win at number 14, Tennessee. Virginia I think you could argue to flop Virginia and Louisville. I actually had Louisville slightly ahead of Virginia last week because I was turned off. I was not impressed by Virginia's play the last couple of weeks. They barely beat Washington State. They barely beat North Carolina. But then they go on the road to Cal. Not that Cal's a world beater by any means. We got that late pick six to cover the spread, significant for some. Late pick six to win by 10. In Virginia, of course, owning the head-to-head over Louisville. We've got the Cavaliers at number 12. And Louisville up to number 13 following their win over Virginia Tech. A game they trailed 16-7 at halftime, but then shut out the Hokies in the second half, winning 28-16. So you look at the ACC, it's an interesting race right now. A very interesting race. Because of Miami's loss, and we'll talk on that later, SMU still in the mix, Clemson not even a factor. Georgia Tech took their first loss of the year, but still certainly in contention. But Virginia and Louisville also very much in contention as well. So that's going to be a conference that we monitor really closely over the final month, 3-4 weeks of the season, because that race is really wide open. Some teams certainly eliminated, but it's going to be a very interesting race, and that championship game could feature teams that we didn't expect to see back when the season started. But Virginia up 5, not necessarily because the win over Cal was impressive, but because some teams did, of course, lose ahead of them. Louisville up 1, Utah into our top 15. Utah and Texas both into our top 15 after getting massive victories over ranked opponents. So these are two teams that maybe kind of were left for dead, both with 2 losses. Still, somehow, both find themselves in the hunt for a conference title and still in the hunt for the college football playoff. Utah destroying Cincinnati, who was undefeated in Big 12 conference play, had not lost since week 1 against Nebraska. Utah destroying Cincinnati 45-14. Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, just a dominant performance from start to finish. Really, really impressed by Kyle Whittingham's squad in Salt Lake City, as we know, a very difficult place to play. They once again proved that to be the case on Saturday. So do not sleep on the Utes. BYU or Texas Tech is going to lose on Saturday. If Texas Tech loses, that would be their second conference loss. Could eliminate them, but they would own the tiebreaker over Utah. BYU owns the tiebreaker over Utah as well. So the Utes still need some help to get in that Big 12 championship game, but their playoff hopes are far from over. They're a dang good football team. We've got them at number 14. Texas moving up 9 spots, barely ahead of Vanderbilt, who they just beat. So Texas getting that head-to-head tiebreaker over Vandy, head-to-head tiebreaker in our rankings. They're up 9 spots. I hadn't been impressed with Texas. Hadn't been impressed with them at all. They were lucky, I thought, to come back against Mississippi State, trailed by 17 in the fourth quarter, found a way to win in overtime. I picked Vanderbilt to beat them in Austin. I was not sold at all on this Texas offense. But they lit it up against a good Vanderbilt team. Scoring on the very first play of the game. They were relentless. The defense did their job. And you can look at it, I think both arguments are fair. Vanderbilt came all the way back and made that game close. Nearly got the onside kick. And I think if Vanderbilt had recovered that onside kick, they would have won the game. So you can look at it from 2 ways. Texas, 2 things can be true, I guess I should say. Texas was dominant. They dominated that game. They finally saw some life on offense. The defense, I thought, did a fairly decent job, but Vanderbilt showed a lot of guts, and battling back like they did in the fourth quarter when they were down 34-10, scoring 21 unanswered, and again, just so close to recovering that onside, shows, I think, how good this Vanderbilt team is, how great the culture is there, and how hard this team fights. Vanderbilt's still a dang good football team. They just fell just short, barely short against Texas on the road, mind you. So Texas up 9, Vanderbilt down 8. Still 2 very good football teams, and everything, I think, still right in front of them. I think if Vanderbilt wins out, same for Texas, if they win out, they're in the college football playoff. Would be hard to leave out either of those teams at 10-2. Maybe still in the SEC championship. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things that can go both their ways or go wrong for them in the coming weeks. That's why as things start to heat up, as they do in the month of November, things start to get a lot more exciting, a lot more interesting, and a lot more wild in our top 25 rankings. So Texas at 15, Vanderbilt at 16. Georgia Tech fell to NC State, a horrendous defensive performance against the Wolfpack. Back in the preseason, we picked this game. I believe we picked NC State to beat Georgia Tech. They did it 48-36. The Yellow Jackets taking their first loss of the season. Their strength of schedule isn't great. Georgia Tech's still a dang good football team, but it does feel like and keep in mind, they're still in the hunt for the ACC championship, so they can still win the ACC title, get to the college football playoff, right? That's a very good possibility. But it feels like they really need that win over Georgia in the season finale to feel good about themselves. Still a good football team, dropping them 8 spots. We had them at number 9. They're now at number 17. I feel like they can win their next couple of games. That Georgia game in the season finale is going to loom large. Almost beat the Bulldogs last year, fell short in that, 6-7 overtime thriller? 6-7 overtime thriller. But Georgia Tech, still a good team, but definitely the room for error got a lot smaller, and their playoff hopes took a little bit of a hit with that loss on the road to an unranked team by double digits. Michigan up 2 spots following the win over Purdue. Missouri up 2 spots following the win, or win over the bye, I guess you should say. USC into our top 20. Some would say, why is USC not above Michigan? They beat them head-to-head. Again, go back and look at our rankings. We had Michigan, I believe, at 22nd, 21st, when USC wasn't even ranked, and the Trojans hadn't done anything to catapult Michigan. I know they do own the head-to-head, but the way the season worked out, Michigan was in our rankings when USC wasn't. I've not seen a reason to throw USC above them. Again, I think it's negligent at this point. I don't think either of these teams make the college football playoff, and obviously that would be valued. The head-to-head would be valued if it became down to the 2. But USC at 3, following the win over Nebraska, a gutsy win over the Cornhuskers on the road, which we did predict correctly. Rounding out our top 25, let's get into it. 21 through 25, Miami is number 21. They have dropped 11 spots. If you're Miami, I think you got to get rid of Cristobal, man. He's proven that he can't get the job done. This last year I thought was bad. A record-setting offense, and you choke down the stretch and you don't even make the college football playoff. This year is also really bad. I don't know if I want to say it's worse than what we saw last year, but it's on par. I mean, you beat Notre Dame, you beat USF, you beat Florida. I mean, you beat some of these top dogs, good teams in the beginning of the year, and you have a cakewalk the rest of the way, and you lose to Louisville at home, and then you go on the road to SMU, who mustered 12 points against Wake Forest, and you lose in overtime? In both those games, you lost. I mean, it wasn't all on Carson Beck against SMU, but Beck had 4 picks against Louisville and then threw the pick in overtime against SMU. I mean, Mario Cristobal is selling, man. He has had the teams to make the playoffs, to make a run. And now, he might not even make the ACC championship, and I'm not even fully convinced they'll beat Pittsburgh in the season finale. Miami's got 2 losses. I think that loss to SMU probably eliminated them from the college football playoff. They're probably going to need some help if they want to get there, and that might be a miracle if that. Miami down to number 21. Very disappointed with them. The talent is there. It's been there. But Mario Cristobal, I think, is holding them back. He is holding them back and continues to show, look, it's great that you're a great recruiter. It's good for you to go get all these blue chip players. But you know what? It means nothing if you can't win with them. It means nothing if you can't coach them. And clearly, Cristobal can't. So Miami down to number 21. Memphis up 3 following the win over Rice. I'm still not sold on the Tigers at all, but they are the top-ranked group of 5 team right now. They are the playoff frontrunner in the American, but that conference is going to be very interesting down the stretch. Memphis, big game against Tulane later this week. Tennessee down 8 following the loss to Oklahoma. Cincinnati down 8 following the loss to Utah. We kind of touched on those games earlier when we talked about the teams that beat them. And then Washington jumping into our top 25. We had Navy and Tulane as our first teams out last week. Both those teams lost. Washington was the one there, so they would have been ranked, 28th? So the Huskies are in. They got that big win over Illinois before their bye week, and Washington's got a very favorable schedule. They sit at 6-2. They could win their next 3 games. They'll rise up the rankings, and that could set up a very intriguing season finale against Oregon. Watch out for that one. Don't sleep on the Huskies. No one's really been talking about them much, but this could be a 9-2 Washington team battling against a 10-1 Oregon team in that season finale, a game that would have massive Big Ten title and college football playoff implications. Next few teams that are on the outside, look at Houston. Houston was number 18. They dropped out. I was really excited for Willie Fritz and the Cougars. Clearly, they were fraudulent, losing by double digits to West Virginia. So they dropped out of our top 25. They were the only team that did drop out. Iowa, Pittsburgh, James Madison, and North Texas are first 4 out heading into Week 11. 1 or 2 of those teams will probably find themselves in our top 25 heading into Week 12. But that's why we play the games. Got to wait and see how it all turns out. Going to be a very, very fun finish to the season, guys, and a very fun Week 11. Only 2 ranked versus ranked showdowns, but it's the weeks where there aren't that many marquee games that end up being the wildest. And, of course, we'll have you covered every step of the way right here at the Gridiron Expert. So, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the channel, here at the Gridiron Expert. We appreciate you. We're so glad you're a member of our GE Nation. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes everything over at thegridironexpert.com. Go over there, take advantage of it right now. Finish this season strong with us. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.